Okay, let's finish up the bot by adding our top plate. So if you're splitting this up into work, you should have gotten your files from your teammates, and make sure you have your project file selected, of course. And let's go back into our main assembly. So you see here, if we configure our view, see here that the only thing missing is the top plate and a way to mount the top plate to the shell. So I'm going to make the top plate similar to how we made the shell, just by creating a part on this top face here. Let's call this top plate. Okay, saves it to the right location. Let's hit the top face here. Now if we want to start a sketch on there, it'll actually be, the plane will be on our top face, because that's what we selected as one of our origin planes. So let's go to a top view, and let's just project the geometry of our bot like that. Let's do that as well. And so let's draw a rough outline of what we want it to be. Okay, and let's make these points coincident. And let's just start adding constraints. So we want our lines to be aligned with the outer edge of our shell. So this is going to be pretty easy. Perfect, we're all blue, we're all constrained. Let's go ahead and extrude it. And this is just going to be for protection. It's not actually going to be for structural support. So I'm just going to make this a 1/16 of an inch to save some weight. So that's our top plate. And if you see, nothing really intersects. The things we had to worry about are the tall things, so like the wheels. But you can see the wheels don't actually touch it. And the battery, but the battery doesn't touch it either. And if we save this and go back to our assembly, we can actually check if things interfere in the Inspect tab. So if we select the things we want to analyze for interference, which is everything in this case, analyze interference, a total of a really small number of a really small volume of interference was detected. So I would consider that no interference. So let's go back to so let's now mount our top plate to our shell, because if we remove this adaptivity and ground this, our top plate isn't actually secured, and there's no mounting for it as well. So let's go ahead and constrain this on here, make it rigid. Excellent. So we need to add mounting blocks onto our base plate. I'm just going to put one here and up here. So let's edit our base plate or our shell, start a sketch on the base of the shell. I really don't care what the size of this is going to be. I just want it to be roughly 0.3 by 0.3 with a hole in the middle of it that's going to be about 3 millimeters. Well, 3 millimeters exactly. I'm not being super precise about this. You can, it would look better, but I'm not going to be. So let's finish the sketch. Let's extrude it. And we're going to go to the top of this, where our top plate will actually touch. And so what this is just for a hole for bolts to go through the top plate and be secured into the base plate. So let's save this. Let's go back. Let's add our top plate on. And let's edit the top plate. So similar, we're going to create a sketch. We're going to project the geometry of our blocks. Where do we put them? Oh, here. And I just want the holes. I don't care about the rest of the block. Awesome. And let's extrude that out. Select both of them. Cut. All. Save. Return. And now we have a hole for bolts to go through our top plate into our base plate. And this overhang here. I know we were worried about clearance with the shell in this area, but this overhang is actually okay. It won't be interfering with anything because it's removable. And now we're done. We are done with our robot. We could print this, our 3 parts, so our top plate, our shell, and our weapon, and we could assemble it. Now you could have some creative freedom and make it look good. Or if you have something that's ugly, like I don't like how there's a lip here before it goes to the curve, and I wanted to make that curve part of the top plate, I could sweep a profile along or something like that. Now is where you have creative freedom. And a cool thing that I want to show you guys before I let you go is I'm going to add some text here. So let's go to our top plate. Let's create a sketch. And let's add some text using the text tool. And I want it to be the name of the robot. I'm just going to call it Robobrawl because I'm pretty basic. And if we hit OK, that's pretty small and lame. So let's actually edit that by double clicking the text. And when you edit text, like so if I were to make this text bigger, like 0.5, it doesn't actually do that because I need to have the text highlighted when I edit it. So now if I go to 0.5, it'll do it. And I don't like the font, so I'm going to find one that works better or looks better. That looks a little bit better. I don't know, it's still pretty lame. Let's make this bold. Try that. Okay, that's okay. I'm going to say I want it to be there. Let's finish the text. Let's extrude the text. Cut it through everything. Press OK. And now we have our name in the top of our robot, which is pretty cool. Now, of course, these little chunks won't actually be secured. You could add some extrusions to make them secured, or you could just not worry about them. I wouldn't worry about them. So let's save that. Let's return. And that's our robot. If you wanted to add a little bit of color because you wanted to show people how awesome your CAD is, you could select the part, go to this little wheel up here, and adjust the color. So maybe I want to make the body white and the weapon black, and the motor is actually orange. So let's try to make that a little bit more realistic. Something like that. Okay. And say you want to do a really cool render, we can go to our views. And I'm not going to show you how to render, but what we can do is make it pretty close. So we can put realistic effects on, reflections, shadows. We can make this perspective. And now we can go around and we can see just how cool our robot is going to look. So thank you for following along. I hope you learned something. If you have any questions at all, I am in the Slack. You can contact me. If you are ready to print, put a message in the Slack, and I hope you have a good day.